All right, guys, in today's video, we're going to talk about why amateur golfers can't release like the tour pros. And there's two specific reasons why. I'm going to show you what those are, how to fix those, some feels and drills, and most importantly, how you can use our new training aid, the straight stick, to get your hands and club face in the perfect position to make it even easier for you. Let's dive in. All right, guys, so why amateur golfers can't release like the PGA pros? Listen. The answer is quite simple. There's two reasons why amateurs can't release like the pros. Reason number one, professional golfers get the club face more closed sooner than the amateur golfer. Okay, when I say more closed sooner, let's just define that by the toe getting slightly in front of the heel. Toe in front of the heel is closed, straight up and down square, toe behind the heel open. Okay. So the professional golfer, and this is as measured by 3D, right? The professional golfer gets the club face more closed sooner. The amateur golfer has the club face less closed or more open, longer, and then they try and slam it shut a lot late. And when I say that out loud, if I say slam and shut a lot late, does that scream consistent, easy day-to-day results, or like very inconsistent? What's going on? Very inconsistent. So the pros, more square sooner, defined by the toe in front of the heel. Amateurs, more open longer, slam shut late. Which leads to the second part, which is the body motions that correlate with that. Why pros release it well is they get the club face more square sooner, and then that gives them the ability to get their body motions working correct through impact. Body motions correct through impact consist of two specific things. Number one is sufficient body rotation. That'd be the pelvis and the rib cage are open to the target. And sufficient side bend, which means they're tilted over, their right shoulder is down. The amateur golfer is less closed or more open, and as you try and slam it shut, you stall, stop rotating, and you have to stand up to try and flip and square the club face, okay? And so the reason you have all this look later on is because you didn't do the motions early enough, right? The correct motions early enough. And so the key here is getting that toe to the point where it's slightly in front of the heel. And we're gonna show you a bunch of pictures of pros getting it there by the delivery position. And when they get it there by the delivery position, then, and we can see these on the screen, it looks very easy and passive through impact. There's not a lot of action there. It's easy to have free body rotation, easy to have the tilting on the way down once you get to that spot. And so what we need to be able to do, first things first, is learn how to get the toe in front of the heel by this delivery position. Now, to get it here by this delivery position, it probably would be easier if it was pretty square at the top of the backswing. It probably would be easier to have it pretty square at the top of the backswing if it was pretty square on the way back, right? Now, do you need to have the club face more square to close on the way back to get it to this all-important delivery position so you can have a very good release, consistent golf swing? No, you don't. But the more open it is here or here, the more work you have to do to square it on the way down. Not impossible by any means, just more work. Are there players that do that? Absolutely. It's just more work. What I would suggest is at two key checkpoints, when the shaft is parallel to the ground, both on the backswing and the downswing, that you have the toe in front of the heel. So see the toes in front of the heel there, and again, there. Two key checkpoints, toe in front of the heel. Shaft parallel to the ground here, on the way back, and then again on the way down. If you hit those two, it doesn't matter that much where it's at the top. Which begs the question, Eric, how do I get the toe in front of the heel? And of course, there are two main things. Number one is where your hands sit on the club, and number two are your wrist angles. Now, if you get your hands sitting correctly on the club, you don't really need to do much consciously with your wrist angles to have the club face square. It should happen by itself, which is why I suggest that. I suggest that you have a neutral to strong grip, okay? If I do that, I can have this club face in good position without doing much. If you're someone who has a weaker grip, which I wouldn't recommend, but it is doable, You can still get the club face square, but you got to do a lot of bowing of the left wrist, a lot of bending back of the right wrist in all areas. I would suggest we start with the grip being neutral and the hands being on the club correctly. And I feel this pain because I struggled with a weak grip for literally over a decade trying to fix it. And so when I would look at my old swing on video, what did I have? Freaking toe behind the heel, face open, big flip motion. Have to stand up, have to stall, right? Can't rotate. If you don't get the club face, you don't get nothing. And I want you to do it with your grip, and I want you to do it with the straight stick. Now, if you've seen our videos on Tuesday and Thursday, I explained a little bit about this. We've been developing this training aid for the past year. There's 3 key features. One is the grip here, one is the compression clicker, and one is the club path piece, right? But for the grip in this video, not only is it molded perfect, and when we're talking about getting your grip on, you can see when I put it on correctly, it gives me these little V's for reference. It just fits so perfectly in my hand. Obviously, I have some checkpoints. I have the V's over by my shoulder, right? This just looks like a normal good grip. But it's also literally where my fingers are on the club. Some of the minor details we don't think about, that the club is positioned correctly in my fingers, that my fingers wrap around the club correctly. Like, that's so important. If you're a little bit off with where your hands are on the club, it's gonna be very difficult to get the club face pieces. And that's why I recommend this. Now, there are other molded grips in the market, but one thing I've never seen is I can actually adjust the club to the point where I can make this grip a little bit stronger or a little bit weaker. And this is part of why it took us so long to design, which is that we wanted to have it to the point where I could easily move this around. I can go to neutral, I can go to strong, or I can go to extra strong. Now, we didn't put weak because I don't want you to have weak. Okay, I want neutral or strong. So see, I can easily just slide this over and change where I want to have it. If you're someone who wants to go a little bit on another direction, that's fine. I recommend strong or even strong plus, which is what I use to start with. And then when you leave there, you can put your hands back on this every day when you practice, every time before you go play, and ensure that they're on there perfectly with no questions. That's why it took a year, okay, for us to do this. So lots of detail behind that. If I have my hands on correctly, I have my grip on, for most of you, if you put your hands in front, thumb straight towards the ball, you're gonna need to feel like your hands are turned more clockwise from my view. If the ball's 12 o'clock, you're gonna turn them towards like 2. It's gonna feel stronger and more turned. And guess what? If I do that correctly, the club head's already there. I didn't have to do anything. The club head's already there. I didn't have to do anything. Now, what do I need to do through the ball from here? I can just let myself swing, right? I can have a normal release, a normal amount of body rotation, a normal amount of tilt. So the grip, gosh, the grip is so important. I think this is worth it, Mary and I were talking, for just the grip piece alone. Let's go ahead and hit one with this first. Now, obviously, you hear the compression clicker happening just past impact as well. If you didn't see Thursday's video, you want to go back and watch that one. So today on Sunday, now guys, like I mentioned, there is a very limited time on this. We don't have a million of these. We have a limited supply. You have to get this by the end of tomorrow night to get the discount, all the bonuses, right? The money back guarantee and all that stuff. So don't be shy with this, okay? So same thing, my grip is on there correct. And just what you want to do in your pre-shot routine is check the club face. Make sure it's tilted down. If you're used to having it way open with lots of left wrist cup or arm rotation, you want to control it with the grip, right? But if you're doing the grip and it's still like, whoa, it's out of position, I would reference a little bit of the arm rotation and wrist angles. And to make that simple, what I mean is, watch how the back of my hand and my right palm control the face. If we point a line out of my glove logo on my right palm, notice how they point straight away or even slightly down. If I make my glove logo and right palm point more down, watch the club face. See how the toe gets more in front of the heel. So the glove logo and right palm pointing more down closes the face more sooner. Who closes the face more sooner, pros or ams? Pros. Do we want to do that and be like a pro? Yes, okay? So if we need more of that, we can do it there. You could also do that on the way back, or you can do it on the way down. If my glove logo's up and my right palm's up, how's the face? Bad. Glove logo down, right palm down. So with this training aid in, you know, sometimes I'll get someone with this where their face is way open. And so we do both of those, right? So just so you're aware. The grip is on there perfect. I've got it set to strong plus. I've got my compression clicker set to 90 for me. I'm still feeling like the last video, like I'm throwing it out here past impact. But for the sake of this video, the glove logo and right palm are down, the toes in front of the heel. The glove logo and right palm are, and when I say down, they feel like they're down towards the ground, but they're really just level. And the toes in front of the heel. Now from there, I can be very passive. Very passive on the way through. Okay? So the grip is on there correct. It feels perfect. I'm gonna just lightly feel like the toes in front of the heel on both sides. Beautiful. That's probably about a 10-yard draw shot that I hit there. You can hear the clicker. The divot was past impact. I can hit balls with this thing. And most importantly to me, and part of why we've waited so long for this, I wanted to show this to you guys many, many times earlier. Part of why we waited so long is because we needed to test it long enough with real golfers for a long enough time span where I pop that down, I put my real club in, I'm hitting a real golf ball on real grass, and I can feel and replicate the same thing. I love how my grip feels when I take that out and put this on. I think it's very easy to replicate, which, you know, like I said, I mean, probably, Mary and I were talking, probably 9 out of 10 people I work with at some point, I gotta move their hands on the club. Not just strengthen or weaken a grip, but how close their hands are to each other, where your fingers are on the club. The little stuff matters. That does all of it for you. So the grip is gonna be nice and neutral. I'm gonna feel the toe in front of the heel from the wrist angles, and then I can be very passive on the way through. And there's another very solid one. And like the compression clicker from the last video, it's very easy for me to feel those same things when I go in and take that out. So listen, straight stick. I know this is gonna help a lot of you. I know some of you are gonna be skeptical like I was, right? This is why they sent it over, I sent it back, they sent it over, I sent it back and forth to perfect these things. And the fact that you can move the grip on the trainer per the grip style you like, to me is huge. I've never seen that before. The molding is important. You have to get the club face to get the release. And this is how you can know that you've done it correctly. So you don't go get a lesson or work on something. You go back 2 days later, it's like, dude, am I doing this right? Are my hands right? Was supposed to be more or less? This takes all of that away, right? Feedback. So you have till tomorrow night, 5/8 at midnight. I would highly suggest it. Like I mentioned, we do have a limited supply. We couldn't produce 1 million of these right off the bat. So if they're gone, right before you go in. You're gonna get the heavy discount, $139. You're gonna get $600 worth of bonuses with Rocco, those 3 pieces that are on there. And you're gonna get the money back guarantee. Ultimately, if for whatever reason this doesn't work for you, we don't want your money, right? We spent the time to develop this to be able to help you, right? Help you guys we work with. That's why we do these videos. So you have the money back guarantee. You have literally no risk. Worst case scenario, you get it, doesn't work, you pay nothing. Best case, it does what I say it's gonna do. You're much more consistent, you hit the ball more solid. Please do this by tomorrow night. If you wanna support us, support the channel, support your golf game, click the link down below. We'll also put in the comments, do yourself a favor, Monday night, midnight, straight stick. Thank you guys for watching.